Hey guys, good morning, afternoon or evening, whenever you're watching. I can't see it and I don't care. Welcome to mission 27. It's getting hard to count because I'm making a stack of these missions. Mission 27 of a mission a day. I'm Lorenzo and I am pissed. You see the mission has been flown. I did the recording and I cut out a lot of footage so that it wouldn't be overly long. Turns out I had miscounted one of the keystrokes, or the computer didn't recognize it, or something happened. What happened is that I ended up recording all the bits I did not want to record and not recording all the bits I wanted to record. So all the nice shots are gone and all the rubble is still there. I'm going to explain what I did today. The ultimate goal was same as yesterday, to put a kethane mining probe, refinery, fuel depot, what you call it, on Minmus, so that future missions, vessels and ships may refuel there, getting fuel and oxidizer from a much shallower gravity well than Kerbin's. This makes sense because then the fuel only needs to be lifted from Minmus and not from Kerbin. Also, the fuel that's mined is free and the mission controller charges you quite a lot for the fuel, so free fuel is a definite plus. If you recall, yesterday's mission wasn't a great success. We attempted this, but the launcher didn't have enough thrust to weight ratio, didn't have enough thrust to put the probe in orbit before entering the atmosphere again. There was enough delta V in it, but not enough thrust. So to get money to allow this launch, I did two launches. I launched two satellites in orbit. A very cheap launcher, I think it was only about 20,000 credits. And that gave us twice 65,000 credits. Again, this is a Constellation money probes. You can see a few shots of that now. So that out of the way, I had the money for our kethane refinery. I've redesigned the vessel a little bit. It's now got a nuclear engine and a few smaller rockets on the fuel tanks of the miner to increase the thrust, and they will be shut off as soon as the miner is in orbit, because the nuclear engine is just far more efficient. That is being launched now, and as soon as I put that in orbit around Minmus, or at least in the sphere of influence of Minmus, I discovered a mistake with the recording, and my commentary will resume from there. So just to recap, did two satellite missions, redesigned the Minmus probe, and flew it to Minmus. That's basically where we're at now. So I'm going to cut to Minmus, see you there, and enjoy the last bit of the ride. See you there, bye. So, here we are in the Minmus sphere of influence. We don't have a huge amount of delta V left. In fact, well, I didn't bring the engineer, so I don't know exactly how much. But 200 more meters per second should at least be in it. We would like to land, but the truth is, we won't know where to land before we make the satellite do its job. So I'm going to break the whole contraption together into the orbit, so that at least everything is captured by Minmus, and then I'm going to decouple the satellite, put that in a nice low polar orbit, and then I'm going to leave that scanning for a long time, and we can come back tomorrow to land the craft. As you just saw me explain, the recording was botched up for most of this mission. I recorded the bits I didn't want to record, and it didn't record the bits I wanted to record. Quite annoying, but hopefully I gave you a good recap of what happened, which I will do in the future, which will happen before now, so that's difficult for me to carry on talking now. Suffice it to say, there were a few modifications to the craft. We added inefficient but relatively powerful tiny engines. They burned through the fuel right quick, and now we are in orbit, well, almost in orbit around Minmus, with a craft that should just about be able to make orbit, and hopefully then have enough delta V left to land. We will have, by my estimates, roughly 100 delta V left, if not less. 100 delta V could be enough to land. I'm not going to say should be enough to land, but that could I'm not sure what's up with these maneuver nodes, because we are now coming in for a crash, while... and that was definitely not the point. Oh, we switched the orbit direction around. Well, sure, why not? We have delta V to spare, apparently. Re-establish that orbit, please. A 20 kilometer periaps, why not? That is great. We are going to leave our mining lander thing here. Hell, we might even send one tank of fuel up to refuel it so that the landing will happen for sure instead of not happen. Right, that's good language. Again, we're hoping the lander will happen instead of not happen. Also, where's this extra fuel? Oh, the extra fuel is of course hiding in the satellite. So we are going to detach the satellite, decouple that node. And now it becomes important to switch back to the miner real quick and deploy its solar panels, because the radio isotope thermoelectric generators were on the satellite, and this now still needs its power, of course. So these solar panels are now... wait. No. Clampotron docking port. Decouple that, please. Why is there a decoupler stuck to my docking port? That's not good. That is not good. We are going to have to get that off somehow. That's a later concern anyway. How to get off the decoupler. I thought I stuck that on without a decoupler. Oh well. More craziness. Anyway, this is our satellite. We can extend its solar panels. Yes, it does have them. Extend the panels, and this one is carrying a lot of power for its size, because this keythane scanner is quite power hungry. We're going to activate it. Activate the scanner. And yes, we are keeping up with its demand, which is great. That's what we try to do. So we're going to move towards that periapsis and establish an orbit low around Minmus. That this only costs 30 meters per second makes me very hopeful. That probably means that even this will be able to do its landing, even if that decoupler cannot be removed. How? Well, I'm going to ask you viewers about this. How can I remove a decoupler that's stuck to a docking port? It should be able to undock, right? At least that's what I was thinking. I'm not sure if I was thinking when I attached that, because I must have attached it. I could have just put the engine on the decoupler, but that would have been too smart probably. Well, I'll just admit I have no idea what happened. And this keythane mining mission, which was a nice idea to just do sort of in between, has become a major headache of its own. Fortunately though, the probe is at least in a position to start firing its engines. Go on, fire the engine. Ooh, wow. That is a lot too much, far too much fuel. Far more fuel than was actually needed by this probe. Oh well. Oh well. In an orbit 60 kilometers by 20. We can reduce that further probably. Not sure why we want to reduce it, but it's cool to have a probe just hugging the surface. And let's see what this detector is coming up with. No keythane yet. That would be fun if there would be no keythane at all yet. Oh well, yet there just wouldn't be any keythane on Minmus. Wouldn't that be funny? All this effort to send a miner. All this effort to send a miner, and there would be no keythane. Also, I did end up in a polar orbit, so when we do find the keythane, it will be slightly difficult for Mr. Lander to land right on top of it, especially with the amount of delta V he doesn't have. Bam! We found some keythane, and I can tell you it's almost equatorial as well. That is actually pretty great. So, mission at least a partial success already. We are finding Kethane. Now we just have to make sure that we can actually land on it. Tomorrow we're going to try and land near the Kethane after sending a small docking. Yeah, I'm basically just going to put a robot on a small fuel tank, send that over to the lander so that it may be refueled enough to actually land. Because we are in orbit here, we have 100 meters per second. We need to kill that, and then require 10, 20, 30 more to actually land. I'm not confident that that is in the lander. So yeah, we're going to have to send up a tank to do that. I'm just watching it scan for Kethane now. There's not a huge amount on Minmus, it seems, but there is some, and we should be able to land near some of this. So I'm going to leave this running while I get some food, and I'll be seeing you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. This was Lorenzo, and tomorrow we'll have mission 27 where we attempt to land near Kethane. Goodbye.